That's a lot of bees right there. And what I'm creating is a little bit of space, bee space, so I can get into the center frame and determine what the health of the colony looks like. Ow! Ooh, whoa, 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 ow! Stung, 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 stung. Ow!
This episode is sponsored by Sting Kill. Killer bees. It's a term that swarmed the United States in the early 90s, blanketing the nation with a fear that being covered and stung to death by Africanized honeybees was a possible and very painful doom. And while people do die from bee stings every year due to rare allergic reactions, the term killer bee is nothing more than an overly hyped media headline.
Early morning, the deserts of Arizona. Today we are out in a bee yard getting ready to check some hives to determine if they have been reprogrammed from angry Africanized killer bees and into a more docile stock.
You would never want to approach a colony of bees in the wild. So today, I will be working alongside my good friend, honeybee farmer and conservationist, Chris Brinton. This guy knows bees. Chris has dedicated his life to honeybee conservation by safely capturing aggressive Africanized colonies and genetically reprogramming them into calm European colonies. The easiest way to explain it is that he removes the angry Africanized queen from the hive and replaces her with a friendly European queen. Eventually, the friendly queen's genetics are passed on. The colony becomes docile and ultimately safer for a honey farmer to work with. This process takes time, but it's incredibly effective. Today, Chris has tasked me with analyzing the aggression level of an Africanized bee colony that was recently discovered in a residential neighborhood. Instead of exterminating the colony, Chris moved it to one of his controlled bee yards and swapped the queens so the genetic reprogramming process could begin. Has the genetic reprogramming process worked? We're about to find out.
Now this bee box here is unique in that this was an Africanized colony that's been brought into the bee yard, and what Chris has done is replace the queen. Remember, at one point, this was considered Africanized killer bees, which are incredibly aggressive if provoked. All right, here we go. So the first thing is to gently pry open the lid, and that is to crack the seal between the wax and the frames. Whoa, that's a lot of bees right there. So far, so good. They seem to be pretty calm. I want to create myself a little bit of space by separating out this first frame from the others. Then, as Chris had instructed me, I want to get down to about the 6th frame. That's right in the center of the colony. All right, coming straight up. There we go. Wow, look at that. That is a very heavy frame of comb and bees. And as you can see, we're starting to get pretty swarmy here. I'm gonna set this frame off to the side.
Before we get any further, it's important that we understand what a killer bee is. Technically, they are swarms of European bees who interbred with invasive East African lowland bees. This breeding created aggressive swarms of what are now known as Africanized bees. Visually, there's very little difference between these bee types. The danger is that Africanized bees are far more aggressive and react faster to perceived threats. The sting of a killer or Africanized bee isn't more potent than that of a European bee. But because they attack in greater numbers, this equates to more stings and the chance of death. Hence the nickname, killer bee.
Really careful here. Don't want to squish anybody. Middle frame is coming up. Ow! Ooh, whoa, 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 whoa! Ow! Stung, 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 stung! Ow! Oh boy, my glove has gotten peeled back. Okay, that's one of the dangerous elements. of beekeeping is you always got to be careful of the bees getting up in underneath the gloves and your suit. Yowzers, yep, gotta love honeybee stings. Okay, wow, honeybee stings, more potent than you would think. Okay, let me bring out this frame. All right, here we go, middle frame coming up. Woo, look at that. That is a lot of bees right there. Let me check one more frame back. All right, next frame coming up. That is a lot of healthy looking bees right there. At this point, we are pretty much stuck right in a swarm of bees. Now, if I were to gauge the level of aggression that is happening right here, I'd say it's somewhere right in between. Not necessarily as aggressive as you would imagine a swarm of killer bees to be, which tells me that this queen is doing her job. She is successfully reprogramming a lot of this colony into being more docile. Now, I was stung once in the process, but really that was sort of my own fault. My bee suit came peeled back from my gloves and I was inadvertently stung, but I'm not getting attacked to the point where the bees are latching onto me and inflicting a bunch of stings. So that is actually a really, really good thing. That means that this colony is on its way to being genetically reprogrammed and will ultimately be a more friendly, docile stock of bees for producing honey. All right, I would say the colony looks healthy, so now it's a matter of getting the frames back into place and closing up the box. It's definitely intimidating to be surrounded by this many bees, that's without question. But when you think about it, beekeepers are doing this every single day to help with the production of honey. And you're gonna get stung every once in a while, it's inevitable. Okay, so now that we've got the frames back in place, I wanna make sure that they are balanced and even. I wanna gently move the bees away from the edge of the box. Make sure they're all kind of tucked back down in there. Don't want anybody to get squished. And last but not least, we put the lid back on. And you want to do it at a little bit of an angle so that you can kind of push any last bees out of the way really gently, and voila, there we go. It's important to remember that all bees are going to defend their colony. Out in the wild, if there were to be a bear that comes into the environment and tries to break into a hive to get honey, the bees sting as a natural defense to ward off anything that's either after their queen or after their production of honey. So it's not abnormal for the bees to be swarming around me. The good sign is that the bees are not aggressively attacking. And that's a day in the life of a beekeeper. Now, it's time to treat that sting.
During the summer months, stings most commonly occur when humans accidentally step on a honeybee that is pollinating a flowering plant. Now, before we get to treating the sting, here are a few things you should know. First is that only female bees can sting. Now, it's obvious the stinger is very sharp, but did you know that unlike wasps and hornets, honeybee stingers are barbed, and as a result, they become lodged in their victim's skin, which can allow for a larger dose of venom. The venom itself is made up of mostly water and the following proteins. Simply put, it's a chemical cocktail that causes pain, swelling, itching, and an extreme level of discomfort that can be thought of as nature's way to teach you a lesson that you will never forget.
So now it's time to show you how to properly treat a bee sting. The first thing you want to do is be brave and stay calm. Pay attention to how your body is reacting. If you notice that the swelling is getting really extreme really quickly, or you start having trouble breathing, it feels like your throat is swelling up, that means you're having an allergic reaction. So you want to seek medical attention as quickly as possible. In most instances, it's just going to be a little localized pain and swelling, exactly like what I'm going through right now. Now, in my arm, we still have a stinger lodged into the skin. And the best way to remove a bee stinger is to simply slide it out with the edge of your fingernail. Wow, that was really in there. And there you have it, right on the tip of my finger there. I don't know if you can see that, That is a pretty long, sharp, needle-like stinger. Now, if you are at home and you have access to soap and water, it's always best to wash off the sting site thoroughly before you go forward with any further medical treatment. Now, one thing that I always have in my first aid kit is Sting Kill, one of my absolute favorite products. And Sting Kill comes in a number of different forms, including Sting Kill wipes. These are fantastic. And then, of course, the neon green Sting Kill vials. These are my favorites. Now, what I'm gonna use first is one of the wipes. You can see this is just a little bit of gauze soaked in the Sting Kill formula, which contains benzocaine and menthol, and you wanna just gently wipe it over the site. Oh, that is soothing. Now, the coolness immediately alleviates the sting, and it also just puts a little bit of comfort in your mind to say, okay, there goes that sting. Now it's not nearly as painful. And you can see that my arm is quite swollen all in this area. The skin is taut, and that's perfect. Now, if your sting is still bugging you, you can go all the way to the vial. Now, it's in a little plastic capsule, and all you need to do is peel that out of its packaging. Now, the actual serum itself is encased in glass and plastic, and what you want to do is squeeze the plastic to crack the glass, and then just shake it up. And eventually, that's going to work itself down into the gauze pad, just like that. And you want to apply it directly to the sting zone. Oh yeah, that is instant cooling relief. Now you want to sit back, relax in a nice, calm, cool environment, maybe even have a popsicle, watch your favorite TV show, or maybe some Brave Wilderness episodes on YouTube, and pay attention to the swelling. Pay attention to your personal symptoms, and if you feel like the reaction is getting worse, I do recommend seeking medical attention. But for the most part, a honeybee sting is going to be nothing more than a painful situation that's going to last for a short amount of time. Then you can say to yourself, hey, just like Coyote, I have entered the sting zone. You're going to have a great story to tell. Well, I'd say that today was incredibly educational. We got to take a look at a killer bee swarm that is being genetically reprogrammed and is becoming a more docile colony for the production of honey. And you learn what to do if you get stung this summer by a honeybee. I'm Coyote Peterson. Be brave, stay wild. We'll see you on the next adventure.
The threat of being swarmed and stung to death by killer bees is not something you need to worry about this summer. And if it makes you feel even better, to date, Chris has captured thousands of aggressive killer bee swarms. And once introduced to a docile European queen, every single colony has been successfully reprogrammed. It's important to remember that honeybees are not out to get you. They simply want to be left alone to do their job pollinating our planet, which ultimately helps in the production of many foods we eat. Yet accidental stings do happen. So if you find yourself facing the uncomfortably potent venom of a honeybee, just remember, be brave and stay calm, because the first aid is quick and simple.
When it comes to killing the sting, nothing beats Sting Kill. Okay, bite from this is potentially lethal. Things are about to get dangerous. That is one big funnel web spider right there. Just bit the pipette. You can feel the power in that strike.
Australia is arguably the most dangerous continent in the world. I'm sure that as your imagination begins to run wild, you are likely thinking about being snatched from a river's edge and eaten alive by a giant saltwater crocodile. Or perhaps you are envisioning how terrifying it would be if you were to stumble upon and be bitten by one of its incredibly venomous snakes, like the eastern brown. However, it's not only the reptiles that you need to be wary of. Tonight we are exploring just outside of Sydney, the most densely populated city in Australia, which also happens to be home to the world's deadliest spider, the Sydney funnel web. Armed with a set of massive fangs and an incredibly toxic venom, just a single bite from this spider has the ability to kill a human. Sounds terrifying, yet these spiders are rather elusive and tend to avoid humans at all cost. In fact, they can be rather difficult to find, as building their silk-lined, funnel-shaped burrows under rocks or in rotting logs keeps them hidden and out of sight.
Ooh, covered in ants. Watch out for that. Let's go on the back side of this tree. There's some logs to flip over here.
So unless you were like me and are flipping over debris in the environment, your odds of encountering one are pretty unlikely.
You ready? Lift this up. Oh, spider, huge spider. Right there.
Is that a tarantula?
No. I think that's a funnel web spider. Right there, just came out from underneath that log. Look at its abdomen right there. Holy cow. That's definitely a funnel web spider. Hold on, I need to get in this container. Oh my gosh, did you see that? It's a good thing I picked up the log from the other side. It was just burrowed right underneath there.
That's a tiny container, dude. That looks too big to be a funnel web.
No, it definitely is. Look at the front of its body.
Oh yeah.
Wow, that spider's so big, I don't think it's gonna fit in this container. Mario, you have that bigger jar?
Yeah, I think I might have one in my backpack. Hang on.
Let me see if I can peel back some of these grasses.
It looks like a tarantula, but I...
Ooh, it's moving, hurry up! Okay, bite from this is potentially lethal. I'm just gonna set that down and see if I can coax it. I'm gonna try to coax it right into the container. Now they cannot jump, but they will lunge forward. It's in there. There we go. Wow! Look at that.
Oh yeah.
That is 100% a funnel web spider.
That is a big one.
Wow. We cannot miss getting this up close for the cameras. Okay, let me grab my bag and let's head up to those rocks. Wow! That is without question a funnel web spider. The question that remains is, what species is it? I want to find a good flat open rock.
How about that one right there?
This?
Yeah, that looks
that's
pretty. Or that one. Is that better?
Yeah, that's a little bit better. Let's see if it'll just sit on top of the rock surface like this.
Yeah, I like this. This is good.
Wow.
Yeah, let's have a look.
That is intimidating. It does. It looks like a tarantula. I know you said, is it a tarantula? You sure it's a funnel web spider? 100% certain it's a funnel web spider. One of the ways that you can identify this species as such is they have a very bald cephalothorax. Now they do have hairs on their legs and on the abdomen, but that is how you can recognize a funnel web spider. And that's the perfect sort of place to find them, underneath logs where they can wait in ambush for their prey. Now they will also obviously be inside of burrows with those little funnel web systems. And whoa, am I glad that I picked up the log from the end that I did. Now my fingers didn't tuck underneath the log. I was on the top side, and that's why you always pick up a log from an area that you can see, because if you tuck your fingers underneath, you grapple onto that spider and you take a bite, you are on your way to the hospital without question. Okay, now I know it's probably kind of tough to see it inside of this container, so let me see if I can take it out and place it on the rock here, and let's get some shots with it. You ready for that?
Okay, let me help the guys break out the lights real quick.
Okay, yeah, we're losing light here. All right, guys, we have the lights set up now, and in the lights, the spider is even more intimidating looking. You can see the sheen on the legs and the cephalothorax. It's already cast a little bit of webbing inside the container there. And I think if you guys are ready, let's take it out of the container and see if it will just hold its ground here on the rock. Now, this is an extremely aggressive spider species, and oftentimes they won't run, but what they will do is rear up and show you those fangs and those front legs. Okay.
Yeah, we have to be very cautious.
Yeah, I'm gonna just gently tilt this down like this, and let's see if it will crawl out and just stop right there. Here we go. Okay, let's see if I can get it to stay still. Oh, you stay. Actually, maybe I'll do this. It seems to be more comfortable inside the container.
Yeah, that works for me. How about you, Mario?
Okay, it's just such a dangerous spider. I mean, even more so than a wandering spider. Oh, okay.
Easy.
Look at those hooked legs, allowing it to hold onto the edge of the container. Let me see if I do this. Maybe if I put the container over top of it and give it just a second to stay right there. Now, one reason that the bite is so bad is that because when they bite, their fangs are so long, they actually will hook into you, hold on, and continue to pump venom.
And it's not like a black widow or a redback spider where they might give you a warning bite. A bite from this spider species is full on as much venom as I can inject. Okay, let's try this. Everybody got a decent shot on the spider? There you have it. Wow. And just for scale, look at how big that spider is next to my hand. Not taking my eyes off of the arachnid. That is definitely as close as I feel like I can get. All right, Mark, let's try this. I'm gonna try to present it from just its still position right there. And like all spider species, you see those very defined 8 legs, but they also have very long pedipalps up front, and that helps them to grapple onto their prey. And when they rear up, they show those fangs, and their fangs are incredibly long. Longer in some cases than even some of the snake species here in Australia. Now, one of the reasons that this spider is considered so dangerous is because they can oftentimes be found in residential areas. The Sydney funnel web specifically is oftentimes found right in people's backyards. That's why they tell you if you're out there working in the garden, make sure you have on gloves. You can be tilling up dirt, accidentally grab one of these things, it bites you on the tip of the finger, and you may be seeing symptoms in as few as 15 minutes. Now, the immediate bite, you're definitely going to notice. The fangs are long enough to draw blood, but immediately you'll feel throbbing in your finger, and shortly after you'll start to feel a tingling in your mouth and lips. Now, if you are bitten by one of these spiders, you want to apply compression to the entire arm. So let's say you're bitten on the tip of your finger, put compression straps up the length of your arm. That will help slow the movement of the venom into your body. Wow, that is impressive. Now, there are around 40 recognized species of funnel web spider, with one of the most dangerous being the Sydney funnel web. And I can't identify exactly if this is a Sydney or not, but what we do want to do is actually take this spider back with us into civilization. Where we want to go is the Australian Reptile Park. It's moving. The Australian Reptile Park is the one place in Australia where they actually extract venom from these spiders and then in turn build an anti-venom for people that are bitten. So this spider that we found right here might actually be used to save some lives. How cool is that? Awesome. All right, we are taking this spider to the Australian Reptile Park. Wow, what a find. Australia is home to a collection of dangerous arachnids, from the redback to the huntsman, and ultimately the funnel web. This beautiful continent is crawling with venomous spiders. Catching a funnel web spider is something I had always hoped to do. And now with one in my possession, it was time that the crew and I headed to the Australian Reptile Park. Famous for being the only sanctuary of its type in Australia, they are renowned for their spider and snake venom milking program. Established in 1948, the Australian Reptile Park and Wildlife Sanctuary is regarded as one of the country's premier animal attractions. Considered a hands-on learning facility, they are home to a countless number of animal species, including Tasmanian devils, and even one incredibly friendly Komodo dragon. And while their animal attractions have made them a world-renowned place to visit, it is actually their commitment to saving human lives that brings the crew and I knocking at their laboratory door.
Hi.
Hey, how you going?
You must be Kane.
That's correct.
Hi, Kane. I am Coyote. I'll let you finish playing with whatever you're playing with there. What is that?
Just feeding a little redback.
Oh, redback. Okay, cool. We did an episode on redbacks, but I brought you something a little more intimidating. I'm pretty sure we have a Sydney funnel web spider.
Excellent, my favorite. Let me have a
Yeah,
look.
take a look. I know there are various different species, but we caught that one last night.
Local to this area?
Yes,
Local to here?
about 30 minutes from here.
Excellent.
Look how big it is.
It is a very large specimen you've brought me. I'm very happy with that.
Okay.
It is a Sydney funnel web. That's the good news. It is definitely a Sydney funnel web.
Is it a male? That's the big question.
It is not.
Oh, not a male.
No.
So this is not the venom gold that you guys are searching for.
No, it is the males. We use their venom to make the anti-venom.
Right.
This is a female.
Okay, I was really hoping that we were gonna get to milk a spider today. Now, do you guys milk the females for
Yeah,
anything?
we do. We definitely
you do?
milk the females, yeah.
Can we milk this spider?
We can definitely milk this spider.
Great, so the venom does still have a value of some sort.
It definitely does. We send the venom away for different research laboratories to look into the venom.
Oh, sweet. Okay, well, we're still gonna get to milk a spider, and that's exactly what we wanted. Now, can I actually milk the spider?
I will definitely let you milk that spider.
Oh, that's cool. Okay, well, why don't we do this? Do you have another spider that you can show me how to milk it? I don't know, different species or something like that. I don't really trust myself trying to milk it for the first time.
Now, funnel webs, they love to defend themselves vigorously. So if you do touch one, as you might find out, they will stand up. They will defend themselves.
Is this a male?
This is a female as well. This is a younger female.
Okay, wow, lot smaller.
A lot smaller.
So what's the big difference for anybody out there watching between the males and the females? Because I'm looking at this, I'm thinking, okay, well, with tarantulas, the females are always girthier and heavier than the males. I guess that's the same way with the funnel webs. If I were to look at that, I would think, okay, that's definitely a male as compared to this.
Now, the large abdomen at the back is definitely one way to tell. The abdomen size compared to the head size is one way to tell the female, and the thicker legs.
Okay.
So the smaller of the two would be the male.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but it is the male that has the most potent venom and the one that is extremely dangerous.
Definitely.
But a bite from a female, this wouldn't have actually killed me last night.
Most likely wouldn't kill you. Unless you're unhealthy or something, it's not going to do you a whole lot of damage.
Okay.
But we have to treat every bite as a potentially life-threatening bite.
Okay, so getting into milking.
Yes.
How does this process work? Mark, you got an okay shot there?
Yep.
So what will happen, we've got a little vacuum hose going down to a little pump down there. We don't want to have too much suction and suck the whole spider in, but just touching them, you can see they stem. You can actually see the drops of venom on the tips of the fangs. And that's what we want. We want to get that venom from those fangs into the pipette. So when she stands up, you can see she's very, very aggressive there, pushing in some venom. We just draw the pipette down the tips of the fangs. They are hollow just like a hypodermic syringe. And by drawing that down as she's producing that venom, we're just sucking it up into the tip of this pipette.
Now, how many of the males do you need to milk before you get an actual vial of venom you can build an anti-venom from?
We look at having about 250 to 400 males in any 1 year that we will have to milk every single day right through the year to keep up with the quota we need to give to the Commonwealth Serum Laboratories.
And in your opinion, would you say this is the most dangerous spider in the world?
Definitely, definitely. You really do not want to get bitten by one of these. The good thing we have in Australia is the reptile park produces the venom to make the antivenom. Since the antivenom came out in 1981, we've had no deaths attributed to a funnel web spider bite. So
Really?
It's very good.
Okay, so the research is working, the anti-venom is working, but how many people would you say are bitten every year? Because this is an extremely common species that's found in suburban areas.
Definitely. We have a lot of people and a lot of conflict with the funnel web spiders in the area. There's about 5 people every year that require a serious amount of antivenom. There are also bites that do present to hospital that don't have a severe envenomation.
Right.
And then may not require antivenom. It's always a last resort, the antivenom.
Okay, now the spider that we caught last night is a female, and fortunately I was not bitten, but if I was, what would I have wanted to do in that instance?
First thing you want to do is a full compression bandage on the area you've been bitten.
Okay.
If that was on your hand, any bracelets, rings, watches, jewelry has to come off straight away. Because
So
it
this
will
would have been
swell.
problematic.
Definitely take it off. It
Okay.
will swell up straight away.
Let's say I was bitten on the tip of my finger.
Basically what we're going to go with a bite is you want to go around the bite site first of all.
Okay.
These bandages are great. They're going to tell us the correct tension to put it on. When they form a square, we know that they're going the right tension to restrict the flow of the venom. You go around the bite site, and then what you're going to do, because it's at the fingertip, we're going to go the whole limb. We don't stop at the wrist. We don't stop at the elbow. We go as far up as the bandage will allow us. Now that pressure, you can feel that's pretty tight.
Oh yeah, I feel like a mummy.
What the idea is it's restricting the flow of that venom going through your lymphatic system. We want to restrict that flow, and hopefully the venom will neutralize itself down here and not right through your body.
Okay.
Once you've got that on there, you're going to stay still. If you've got a button-up shirt or a sling, you put that on, and you want to get to hospital as soon as possible. Calling an ambulance or getting someone to drive you. You don't want to try and drive a vehicle yourself while you are bitten.
Yeah, I can certainly feel that it is providing quite a bit of pressure to my arm. Now, like I said, as we all know, I was not bitten, but here's the million-dollar question. Have you ever been bitten?
I've never been bitten by any spiders, luckily.
Really?
So no
wow,
spiders,
so you're extra careful when you're working with these
definitely
spiders.
have to be extra careful working with
Yeah,
these.
well, when we were filming last night, I'll tell you what, I was nervous to be around that spider. This is good to know. I mean, it sounds like this is something that everybody should have in their first aid kit here in Australia.
Definitely in Australia. Venomous snakes around the world differ in different areas you wouldn't. In Australia, with our elapids, we need this same bandage will work on any of our venomous snakes as well as our funnel web spiders.
All right, well, let's take this off my arm. I've seen you milk a spider. I think if you guys are ready, I am ready to milk the Sydney funnel web. Does that sound good to you?
That sounds great. I'll put this little one away.
Things are about to get dangerous. Oh boy, here we go. I'm just gonna gently coax her out. There she is. That is one big funnel web spider right there. All right, I'm going to reach over here to grab the pipette. It's coming off of its clip. Here we go. Oh, wow, look at that. Wow. Okay, you can already see the venom coming off the tips of the fangs. And what Kane said is that I actually want to just kind of turn her a little bit.
So if you touch her back leg on this side, she'll turn to face the pipette.
Got it.
Going on with the pipette. Okay. Oh, my hand is shaking. Just gently taking that venom off the edge of the fangs. Wow, there we go. Okay, there's definitely venom there inside the pipette. We get her to rear up a second time, and she will just keep producing venom, right, Kane?
Yeah, that's correct. Even once you've got her up like that with the legs up, a gentle blow right towards those fangs will sometimes get her to push some more out for you. That's it. Just draw down the fangs.
Oh,
Yeah.
just bit the pipette. You can feel the power in that strike. Okay, I think that's all the venom she has to give, and you know, it's not as much as I thought was going to come out of there. I could see why you guys have to milk so many of these spiders to build up a vial to create that anti-venom.
Yeah, exactly. It's not as much as you're going to get from one of our venomous snakes in Australia, but it does show you how potent it is. It's only a little amount that does a lot of damage.
Okay, now what do I want to do with this?
We'll put the pipette back safely over here.
Okay, I'll hand
I'll
that
take
to
that
you.
for you.
I'm going to just put this little capsule back over her for safety's sake.
Excellent.
There you go. Wow. Whew, that was nerve-wracking. And you do this every day, don't you?
Every day. I love it.
Wow. Well, this was so cool. Thank you so much for letting me milk
Not a problem at all.
a funnel web
Appreciate
spider.
it.
Now, it wasn't a male. It was only female, but that doesn't matter. The venom is still of value. Now, for everybody out there watching, if you come across one of these spiders, try to safely catch it and bring it here to the
Definitely.
Australian Reptile Park, because this is the only place that...
Milks funnel webs for the production of antivenom in Australia.
That's right, guys. So if you bring one here, there is the chance that you're going to save a life. I'm Coyote Peterson. Be brave. Stay wild. We'll see you on the next adventure.
The Australian Reptile Park is the only sanctuary of its type in Australia that has a spider and snake venom milking program. And the good news is that their anti-venom creation has been saving thousands of lives for over 50 years. If you encounter a snake or a spider while exploring in Australia and admire the animal from a safe distance, your odds of being bitten are very unlikely. However, unexpected bites do occur. And if you find yourself in this worst-case scenario, make sure to stay calm and seek medical treatment immediately.
It is early morning, Costa Rica. We are racing on our way to possibly find a snake that somebody has spotted in their backyard. So they said, do you guys think you could come catch it and move it to a wild area? And we said, well, the snake is still there. That would definitely make a very cool episode. Okay, we found the snake. It's big. They weren't kidding. Ooh. What do you got?
Okay, well, the homeowners, they don't want to be filmed, so they're just gonna stay inside and probably watch us from the windows.
Okay.
But they said, have at it. Said the snake was somewhere over here. So that's all we got going for us. but they're more than happy to have us here searching, so let's go look.
Okay, great. Okay, so what I say we do is split up. Which direction you want to go?
I want to go that way first.
Okay, I'll go that way. If you see something, call it out. We'll all converge together. With any luck, we're going to catch and relocate a snake.
All right, let's get a snake.
Here we go.
So my reasoning for going in this direction is because this is a star apple tree. Check that out. Very fragrant fruit. All this fruit needs to be eaten by something. So what happens is rodents and other species will come to eat the fallen fruit, and maybe there might be snakes in ambush waiting for them.
Believe it or not, sometimes looking up underneath vehicles is a great place to look because they provide shade and shelter, especially if a car hasn't moved in quite some time. Let me do this. Yeah, if it was a big snake, I'd easily be able to see if it was hiding up underneath a vehicle like this.
Most snakes are nocturnal, so now that it's daytime, the snake is likely going to be hunkered down somewhere. So the next step is to find things to flip. Debris, tin, wood, anything that a snake can hide underneath. And hopefully there is something underneath. Oh man, look at this. I thought this was snake skin. Snakes are potentially arboreal out here. We have tree boas out here. We have lots of different parrot snakes, vine snakes. So it is always a good idea to look up in the rafters to see if there's anything.
Look at this. That right there could be a possible entry point, likely for rodents, also accessible for snakes. Whoa, it has actually some water. Yeah, if I was a snake hiding during the day, this would, I just heard something. Oh, there's all kinds of tap holes. Water down in here. Oh, what would have been amazing is if I walked into this abandoned swimming pool and just found a snake curled right up in the water. I was thinking that that might be it.
This looks pretty good. We got a I don't know, chicken coop, or actually it's a thing full of wood. Lots of spaces for snakes to hide in. Boa, holy smokes. I did not even see it there. Holy smokes. Coyote!
Yeah,
We got a snake.
you got a snake?
And Mario just called, he's got a snake.
Oh gosh.
Is it big? Holy cow, that is a big snake. Oh my gosh.
Dude.
It is a boa constrictor.
Dude, I came around here. I didn't even see that snake was right there.
Oh my gosh. Okay, we found the snake. It's big, they weren't kidding. I'm gonna cut this camera, let's regroup ourselves.
That's a big snake.
Dude,
Big snake. Oh my gosh, that is a huge boa constrictor. Okay, so this is it. The moment we're going to engage with the snake and try to safely get it out of this box of logs. No idea how it's going to behave. Oh, that's a hiss.
Oh, and there we go.
Whoa. Now the snake's in a position where there's no way I can make a reach for it. You can see it's completely in a defensive strike position, and getting my hand any closer than this could mean getting my fingers entrapped. And look at all these incredibly huge razor sharp teeth. That is intimidating.
Okay, start backing up. Good. Perfect. Perfect.
Get all
I was
the
trying another snake.
Whoa! That was close. Okay, cool. Snake is out.
Bring him out. Bring him out. That's good. Don't let it go back in. There you go. There you go. There you go.
There we go.
There you go. Snake.
Unbelievable. That snake is all of 5, maybe 6 feet in length. Look at the nub tail.
Nub tail. It is.
Wow. Check this out. Now, if I come on this side of the snake, you can really get an idea for just how big it is. Now, a boa is a non-venomous species, so I don't have to worry about taking a bite and being envenomated. But these snakes have a mouth full of teeth. They're actually like little razor blades turned backwards, and on the top of the skull, they have multiple rows of teeth. So when they grab onto their prey, it locks in place. And the skull's capable of expanding, and these snakes can swallow down prey that are many times larger than their own bodies. And this is what you would consider a full-grown female boa. And that aggressive hissing is basically just saying, I'm a big snake, I'm intimidating, you don't want to get any closer. Got it. Okay. There we go.
Bring the coils like that.
Yep, you have to keep her as straight as possible. Okay. Now it's important to keep the snake stretched out, otherwise it's going to completely constrict around me. Okay, I got you. Snake is extremely strong, and I'm being as gentle as I possibly can. Okay, I'm gonna actually, if I shift my hand back just a tiny bit there, oh wow, she's got ticks all over her. I'm gonna use my multi-tool to pull them off. She's got a big one right on the side of her head here. This isn't gonna hurt at all. Oh, look at that, completely full of blood. That parasite is a really unhealthy thing for a snake like this.
Right now, we're kind of just doing a little bit of a service by hopefully getting rid of some ticks, but otherwise she would be fine with these as is. As you can see, the coils around my leg, the snake has to feel comfortable. Once you engage the head, the snake has to be in defensive mode. That's when the snake is going to be at its most aggressive.
I do have to be aware of where those teeth are at all points in time. The less pressure I put on her, the less constrained she feels. Yeah, you're getting constricted. We want to keep those coils spread out as much as we possibly can.
Here's another tick. I'm full of ticks right now.
I've gotten all the ticks off the top third of the snake. She looks pretty good. You want to stretch her out a little bit so that we can see the full length? There we go. That's pretty cool. That is a beautiful snake.
Gorgeous.
The good news for this boa is that because we were able to find it and safely catch it, we're now going to be able to relocate it to a much wilder area. All this human habitation, while it may provide good opportunities for this snake to get a meal, it actually puts it in the way of danger. I'm actually really thankful that these property owners said, hey, do you guys want to come safely remove the snake? Because killing an animal like this is actually really detrimental to the environment. These snakes do an incredible amount of good by helping to balance the pest populations. Well, I'd say this was a success. We found the snake, and now we're going to be able to safely relocate it back out into the wild. I'm Coyote Peterson.
I'm Harley Coa.
Be brave.
Stay wild.
We'll see you on the next adventure. All right, let's get her into a bag, back off into the wild. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Coyote Peterson, and this is the spider helmet.
Are you ready?
I think I'm ready.
Arachnophobia. It's one of the most commonplace fears in the world, and is simply defined as an intense, irrational fear of spiders. Now, for anyone that suffers this phobia, the term irrational is pretty much irrelevant, because even the tiniest spider can easily seem the size of a dinosaur. Experts say the best way to get over your fear of something is exposure therapy. In the case of spiders, it would be looking at pictures, or even the arachnids themselves. Well, I've decided to take the concept of exposure therapy to the next level. They say, go big or go home. I say, if you can't go all the way, there's no point in even beginning.
Spiders. They proudly hail as one of our planet's most feared, yet most misunderstood species. Now, a large percentage of you out there watching right now likely have arachnophobia. Now, when it comes to spiders, I've worked with many species in the past, including tarantulas, black widows, and even this species that you see right here, the giant golden orb weaver. Now, in the past, I actually free-handled the spider to prove that these giants aren't necessarily out to get you, and if you accidentally run into one in the wild, you aren't necessarily going to be bitten. Now, today what we're going to do is create the ultimate arachnophobic nightmare scenario. We've built what I call the spider helmet, which is a clear plastic capsule that will go over the top of my head. And inside, we're going to place not one, but 20 giant golden orb weaver spiders. Now, it's important to note that all spiders have fangs, all spiders are venomous, and all spiders are capable of biting. Once the capsule is in place and it's locked, I won't have any use of my hands, which means that I will not be in control. That ultimately means that anything is possible. And if I'm bitten, I'm not going to be able to stop the bites from coming. Okay, this is it. The moment you have been waiting for. The reason you clicked on this video. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Coyote Peterson, and this is the spider helmet. I need to try to keep my heart rate as low as I possibly can and talk as little as possible so that I'm not steaming up the box.
All right, are you ready?
I think I'm ready.
All right.
Wait. You've got all the spiders?
They're ready to go.
They're ready to go.
I gotta go.
Okay, how many do we have in there?
A lot.
A lot. Yeah, of course it's a lot. Now, before we get into the entertainment side of things, first we need to give you an education about this super cool creepy crawly.
Commonly known as the golden silk orb weaver, its namesake originates from the golden color of its extremely strong web, which helps to draw in and entangle a variety of victims. Some reports even document these giants eating small birds. Yep, you heard me right, a spider so big it can eat birds. And is considered one of the most widespread spider species. They commonly inhabit tropical regions and love the same beautiful vacation spots you likely dream of visiting. Females are significantly larger than males and can reach several inches in length, the perfect size for spindly drumming up nightmares. But it's only fair to mention that they are not aggressive toward humans and their venom is very mild. So unless you plan on running face first into their webs, or sticking your head in a box full of them, realistically, you should have nothing to fear.
All right, are you ready?
I think I'm ready.
All right. Okay, they're crawling all over. Nice and gentle. Nice and gentle. We got some webbing already.
Oh my gosh, this is the craziest feeling ever.
You all right? Okay.
Please don't bite me, please don't bite me.
Go.
Okay.
Stage is set.
Okay. My goal is to try to stay in here for several minutes. And I'm opening my eyes. Oh wow, that is about as creepy a feeling as it gets. I can feel all of those hooked legs crawling all over me. Okay, I see the spiders are completely surrounding my face at this point. Okay, they are crawling up the back of my head right now. Those little legs are really sharp. Okay, I've got one coming right up over the top of my head now. I imagine if you're still watching this video at this point, you are in a state where your skin is absolutely crawling. You can only imagine how I feel right now. Oh boy. Now what's crazy about the golden orb weavers, they spin these incredibly strong webs, and I can actually feel the webbing is now all entangling the back of my head. I got a spider right in my face. It's walking right up the side of my face. It is so hard to not try to swat at my face. See this? I want to do this. I want to shoo them away from me, but I can do absolutely nothing at this point other than to try to stay completely still. If you think sticking my hands into an aquarium full of piranhas or sea lamprey was creepy, this definitely is the next level. Well, my head has been encapsulated by the spider helmet now for several minutes, and at this point, I haven't taken a single bite. I hope that this extreme arachnophobic experiment has helped display that spiders, while creepy, aren't necessarily aggressive toward humans. If you come across a spider in your near future, stay calm, simply walk in the opposite direction, and both you and the spider will carry on a happy existence. I'm Coyote Peterson. Be brave. Stay wild. We'll see you on the next adventure. Guys, I think I'm ready to take off the spider helmet.
I bet you clicked on this video because immediately you thought, there is no way Coyote Peterson is going this far to teach us about animals. Sure, I've done some pretty crazy things over the years, but the Coyote Pack knows I perform these stunts because they're an entertaining way to learn about the animals we don't understand. Spiders are amazing creatures. Let them do what they do, and I promise the natural world will be a better place. I know that by wearing a spider helmet, I'm not going to be the silver bullet that cures your fear of spiders. But if you have arachnophobia and you bravely watch this video, then you have taken a huge step by embracing exposure therapy. And for that, I am proud of you. South Bass Island is located off Lake Erie's southern shore, and as the third largest island in the lake, it spans 3.7 miles long by 1.5 miles wide, encompassing just over 1,500 acres. The island is beautiful.
Okay, so the ferry has just landed, and any minute now, Sydney is going to be pulling up. We're going to be introducing her to the ecosystem that exists here on the islands. It's very diverse and very unique. We're going to be working with a couple of experts here in the area to take a look at an invasive species known as the brown goby and then the Lake Erie water snake. This is the only place in the world that Lake Erie water snakes exist, on the Erie Islands. So Sydney is going to get the chance to help with some important research and get hands-on with these really cool reptiles.
Joining me on today's wild field trip is Sydney Hendrickson. I was introduced to her glowing personality after watching a few of her homemade animal adventure videos, where she takes on the moniker Safari Sydney.
I think her love for nature and wild animals was pretty evident early on. You know, you could just tell that there was not a mean, harmful bone in her body.
We feel like Sydney's curiosity and her bravery is just really gonna inspire other girls to get outside and explore nature.
Sydney is a beacon of positivity, and her curiosity for the natural world makes her the perfect co-host for today's adventure.
Hi!
Hi!
You must be Sydney.
I am Sydney.
I'm Coyote. Nice to meet you.
This is Peter.
That's Peter?
Yeah.
Is he also a coyote?
Yeah.
Cool.
You can have him.
He's for me?
Yes.
Can he come on the adventure with us today?
Of course he can.
This is going to be awesome. Now, I see you've got on an extra cute outfit, but we're gonna get you into some adventure gear and we're gonna head off on a wild field trip. Are you ready for that?
Yes.
Let's go see if we can find some really cool creatures. You ready?
I'm ready.
Let's go.
Like many islands, South Bass is filled with mythology. And we will be following the tale of an ongoing battle between the heroes and villains that protect or pillage the waters surrounding this lake-locked landmass. First, I want Sydney to meet our story's villain, an invasive species that is notorious for wreaking havoc on the native fish populations by robbing their nests and consuming their eggs. To better understand this invader, we are going to get hands-on with a few that have been extracted from the lake for research purposes.
Sydney, let me introduce you to the round goby. Look at these fish.
They look cute and alienish at the same time.
They really do. They have those big buggy eyes. Now, the round goby is technically an invasive species here in the Great Lakes. These came over here from Eurasia on ships. They got into the bilge area. When the ships got here, they spilled out their water, and these fish came with the boats. Now, the problem is that they've established a stronghold, which means they are here to stay. These gobies are notorious for robbing fish nests of their eggs. And if there's no fish eggs, what are we not gonna have?
Baby fish.
And if there's no baby fish, what are we also not gonna have?
Grown-up fish.
Absolutely right. So the gobies are eating fish eggs and depleting the natural fish that exist here in the environment. However, this is one unique instance where an invasive species has actually had a positive effect because they accidentally are causing a food source for our hero of the day, the Lake Erie water snake. And did you know that Lake Erie water snakes, 90% of their diet consists of eating gobies?
Wow.
Yeah, that's a lot of gobies. So the water snakes are helping to balance out the invasive population of gobies by eating them every single day. And the snakes can eat multiple gobies in a single day. So here's a question I have. Do you think you are brave enough to hold a goby?
Yes.
You do. I like that confidence. So if you put your hands out here over this little container, and we're gonna place it right down in your hands. Now, they don't bite and they don't sting, which is a good thing for me, and it's gonna be totally safe for you. Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm ready.
Here we go. King Goby is coming in. Whoa, he's a fast one. Hold on a second. He doesn't necessarily want to be a part of the scene, but that's okay. I've got him under control.
Hold on.
Do you want to name this big Goby?
Goby.
Goby. Big Goby's name is Goby. And keep your hands flat right there. And that is you holding a very big Goby. There we go. Look at that. Now you see those big fins?
Yeah.
They will lay those flat on the basin of the lake and actually use it to push themselves forwards. And look at all the speckling on the body. What do you think that speckling does?
Camouflage?
Camouflage, yes, that's very good, absolutely right. These fish are incredibly good at camouflaging, but you know who can find them underwater?
Water snake.
That's right, the water snakes can find them underwater, and this is what I would consider a very good sized goby. If you were a water snake and you came across this goby, it would be a very good meal.
Here, have a breather.
Yeah, there we go. Get them down in the water for a second. See that? Look at those big buggy eyes. They have incredible eyesight both at night and during the day, and they hunt both at night and during the day. They're pretty much eating machines, so you can see why, if there are millions of them out in the lake, it could be so detrimental to native fish species because they just eat and eat and eat. So the snakes are helping to control the population of the outbreak of gobies. So now that we've taken a look at what we consider the villain in this story, are you ready to go out and look for the hero?
Yes.
Okay, well, we're gonna meet up with my friend Kristen. She is a snake expert, and she's gonna send us, in you go, Goby. She's going to send us on a mission to search for Lake Erie water snakes. Wow. Do you think you're ready for that?
I think I'm ready.
Okay, well, let's leave the gobies behind and find ourselves some snakes.
When it comes to our story's hero, the Lake Erie water snake, the island has a go-to expert, Kristen Stanford. For more than 2 decades, she has been researching, recording, and promoting the rebound of this once endangered reptile species. Her directive for the next part of our mission is an experience I am certain Sydney will never forget.
Good morning, Kristen.
Good morning, Coyote. Great to see you.
Great to see you as well. Let me introduce you to my young adventurer, Sydney.
Hi.
Sydney, it's so good to meet you.
So good to meet you too.
Now, Kristen, as I understand it, you've got a big mission for us today.
I do. I have a very important mission for you guys. I need you to go out to this shoreline and to catch as many snakes as you can today. Big snakes, little snakes, medium snakes, any kind of snake you see.
Okay, I think we can do that. I love catching snakes. Sydney loves snakes. And when we catch these snakes, do you want me to just put them in my backpack? How do you?
I have just the thing. I have a very special pillowcase for you. And I have a very special pillowcase for you.
Ooh, stripes.
And some extras because you guys are gonna catch so many snakes today, you're gonna need some extras.
Now, once we've got snakes in the pillowcase, what would you like us to do with them?
I would like you to bring all of those snakes right back here, and then we'll go over how we take some biometric data on all of the snakes that you were able to catch today.
Okay, I think we can do that. Sydney, are you ready to go out and catch some water snakes? All right, let's go.
Good luck!
Since the habitation of this island, Lake Erie water snakes have gotten a bad rap. because people have wrongly misidentified them as being a venomous species. But the truth is they are non-venomous and are rather harmless if left alone. Like all snakes, they can bite. So as long as Sydney is wearing her bite-proof gloves, her hands will be well protected against their tiny teeth.
We have made it down to the shoreline, and as you can see, water snakes are welcome here. Now our goal is to catch as many of these slithering reptiles as we possibly can. Sydney, how many do you think we're gonna get today?
100.
100 snakes would be fantastic, and Kristen would be thrilled. I'll be happy if we can just get a handful of them in our pillowcases. Now the goal is for me to catch the first snake so that I can show Sydney exactly how to handle these reptiles. From there, I'm turning it over to you, and you're gonna catch as many snakes as possible. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, let's go catch some snakes.
Coyote, maybe over here.
Let's check it out.
I don't really see anything.
No, but that's a great spot to have looked. Okay, let's keep moving. Oh, got a water snake right here. See it, see it, see it? Okay, so Sydney, let me approach first. Hold on a second. Yes, our first water snake of the day, and it is a big one. That is exactly the size I was hoping that we would come across. So Sydney, what I'm gonna do is safely catch the snake first so that I can show you how to properly handle one of these snakes. Now watch, you see how its head's kind of curled back like that?
Yeah.
It is definitely in a defensive pose at the moment. And being in the shade like this, it's gonna be a little slower. Wow, this is a really well-behaved snake at the moment. Look at that. She's just staying completely calm in my hand. So don't get too close. Crouch down right there. That is the Lake Erie water snake, the hero in our storyline. Now, can you remember what percentage of the Lake Erie water snake's diet is gobies?
90.
That's right, they can spring into action with incredible quickness. And you see that positioning that the snake has with its head, curled back in an S shape like that? Pretty much means that it is ready to strike. Let me test and see if that's gonna happen. Okay, the snake is staying pretty calm. Now, ow, see that? Got bit right on the thumb. That's what I don't want to happen to you, which is why you have gloves. Now, I want to teach you how to properly hold a water snake. So sit up on your knees like this. I'm gonna keep control of the snake's head. Put your gloves out and just kind of gently hold onto the snake's body like that, okay?
I think it's ready to strike again.
Yep,
maybe.
keep her out in front of you like that. That is perfect. That is you holding the Lake Erie water snake. Okay.
I think she feels famous.
She is definitely famous right now, that's for sure. And can you see how big and robust her body is? There's a good chance that this is a snake that's going to have babies really soon. And Kristen will be really excited that we have found a female. But this is a great first catch. Let's get the snake into the pillowcase. Can you open up your pillowcase for me?
I know what we should name her.
What?
But it has to start with an S because she's a snake.
What do you want to name her?
Celestia?
Celestia with an S. I like it. Okay, open your pillowcase all the way up. Gently get her inside.
I think she should be called Queen Celestia.
Queen Celestia is in the bag, and my thumb took a little bit of a bite. Now, it's important to note that Lake Erie water snakes are non-venomous, so I'm in no danger right now. And the reason you see so much blood is because they have an anticoagulant in their saliva, which means that the red blood cells don't collect together, they begin to spread out. That's why there's so much bleeding. Now, when the snakes bite the gobies, that saliva and the blood actually helps the snake to swallow the fish. But this is a good example of why I need you to be wearing the gloves and why we don't want the snake to get too close to your face, right?
Right.
Do you want to carry Queen Celestia?
Yes.
Okay, guys. Well, Sydney thinks we're going to catch 100 snakes. 1 in the bag, 99 to go. Come on, let's see what else we can find.
Maybe 101.
Well, we'll see.
Oh, I see a snake.
Where?
Where?
Oh my goodness.
That
Yep, right there.
Right there.
Wow, okay, this is perfect position for you to catch your first water snake. Give me the bag. Now you can see it's already onto us. It's in a defensive position, so let's approach really slowly. Now remember, when you grab onto the snake, you don't want to get it anywhere near your face. So let's come around this side just a little bit. I'm gonna be right next to you the whole time. Now you want to try to grab the midsection of the snake and then get close to the head so that it can't bite you. You feel comfortable doing this?
I think I am.
Okay, you can do this. You can do this. I'm gonna be right here. Go ahead behind the snake. I'll keep its attention right here. There you go. Now, you see it's getting into that defensive pose?
Oh, yeah.
It might try to strike at you. If it does, just put your hand out. Remember, it can't bite through the glove. Crouch down right there in front of it. Careful, careful, careful.
I got it.
Oh, there you go.
Man.
You see that? Can't bite through the glove. Great job. Go ahead and grab by its head. You got it. Yes!
Got it.
First water snake. Great job, Sydney. That is awesome. Okay, careful. Hold on to it. Get control of it. There you go. Don't get it too close to your face. Okay. How does that feel? You have caught your first big Lake Erie water snake.
I'll call her Sweetie.
Sweetie? Okay, well, before anything crazy happens, let's get her into the pillowcase, tail first.
And she's not that sweet.
You did it! High fives. How about that? Her first official water snake catch. That wasn't too tough, was it?
Wasn't too tough.
Yeah, and do you feel confident catching more snakes?
Yes.
Our snake search continues. Dude, that was awesome. Okay, I'm gonna tie this bag
that
up.
was awesome.
Do you want me to carry Sweetie or do you want to carry Sweetie?
I'll carry both.
Okay, you carry both. That sounds good. All right, let's keep searching for snakes. You be the snake carrier.
Sweetie.
I'll be the snake spotter. Okay, down the beach we go.
Oh, I think I see it.
Oh, there's a snake right there.
From a tree.
Yeah, this one's good for you. This one's good for you. Here, give me the bags. Okay, approach it real slow. Oh, go ahead and grab it.
Oh, no.
Get him.
You get him.
Got him. Here, you take these snakes. Good try. When they get down into the water, we'll let Coyote nab them when they get down into the water. Careful on the rocks.
I'm good.
Oh, this one is definitely bitey. Oh, I see a snake right here on the rock edge. You see it?
Oh, yes.
Before you approach the snake, look at the position that it's in. That is total strike pose right there. So approach very slowly. You can do it. Keep your hands out in front of you.
Angry. Oh, yes.
Make the catch. You got it. Hold on to it, 2 hands. Don't get it too close to your face. Great job.
Yeah.
All right, we are going to get Summer safely into the pillowcase. That was
Heads and tails.
Awesome catch. Want to check these rocks here? Oh, baby snake. Baby snake. Check it out.
Wow.
Yeah. Check it out. That's a baby Lake Erie water snake. You see the pattern?
Yeah.
Look how bitey he is. Oh, he got your glove. That is perfect. We're definitely gonna wanna hold on to this one so that we can show Kristen.
He's so cute.
Isn't he cute?
Oh, he's so cute.
You wanna put him in your bag?
I'll name him Tiny.
Tiny? That's a perfect name.
Our bags bustling with snakes, we return with smiles to Kristen's field biometric station.
Hey, Kristen, we're back from our mission.
Hey, what did you get for me?
We got a couple of snakes, and this is the catch of the day.
Really? What's in there?
A tiny snake named Tiny.
Can't wait to see it.
Now, I have no idea how many snakes we actually caught.
Okay.
I lost track at some point. I'm guessing it's close to 10.
Let's see what you guys got for him. So let's check out Tiny first.
Isn't he so tiny?
He's a beautiful snake.
For every single snake caught, Kristen collects a range of biometric data that catalogs the rebounding population of these native reptiles. Data processing includes a snout-to-vent measurement, sex determination, and scanning for a previous identification chip that is known as a pit tag.
No tag detected.
No tag detected, so this is a good catch for us.
Oh, he is the catch of the day.
If the snake does not have a tag, one is quickly inserted so that it officially becomes a part of Kristen's ongoing research and the island's permanent records. The entire process takes about 5 minutes per snake and is best compared to visiting your health and wellness doctor once a year. Quick, simple, and totally painless. To be on an island is fantastic, but to appreciate one from the water is an experience all to itself. And there's no better way to admire these landmasses than from a catamaran.
Sydney, what was your favorite part of this expedition?
I did like holding Tiny the baby water snake.
The catch of the trip?
Yes.
And why do you think that snakes are such an important thing for our planet?
Because sometimes they eat the pests that are bothering our houses or our fish population or other ecosystems.
So do you love water snakes?
I love them.
For hundreds of years, humans have enjoyed the Erie Islands. Yet just beyond the realm of human awareness, a never-ending battle between heroes and villains plays out daily to balance this aquatic ecosystem. If you would like to learn more, or even become a volunteer for the summer where you can help with research projects and get hands-on with some slithering snakes, I encourage you to get involved and become a part of the mythology that is South Bass Island.
I'm Coyote Peterson.
I am Sydney Henderson.
Be brave.
Stay wild.
We'll see you on the next Wild Field Trip. I don't love being bitten or stung by our planet's misunderstood creatures, but I do love teaching you how to avoid these worst-case scenarios. I'm Coyote Peterson, and I'm about to be scorched by fire ants. Here we go. Ah! Yeah! Ah! Oh, oh my gosh, that is so intense. Oh!
This episode is sponsored by Sting Kill.
Imagine it's your wedding day. You picked the perfect venue. You posed for 1,000,000 pictures. And you built up the courage to walk down the aisle to say, I do. But what happens when an uninvited guest shows up to crash your big day? To the untrained eye, the ground in front of me looks like soft grass and sandy soil. But just beneath the surface, a world of terror is waiting to erupt. Do you know what love really means? Look out, volcanoes everywhere.
The red imported fire ant was accidentally introduced to the United States from South America in the early 1930s, and since this time has become a major agricultural and urban pest throughout the southeastern US. These insects have established a stronghold, so eradication is virtually impossible. And every year, thousands of people fall victim to their agonizing venomous stings. At a first glance, their mounds look completely benign. Yet beneath the surface is a catacomb of elaborate tunnels, bustling with workers, soldiers, the queen, and her brood of precious eggs. The moment an invader is detected, like a volcano, it erupts, and the merciless flow of angry ants will destroy anything in their path.
Now, the purpose of today's episode, aside from the sheer entertainment of me being stung by gazillions of fire ants, is to educate you about these invasive little insects and to show you what to do if you ever find yourself in this worst-case scenario. Now, it's no secret that I've been stung by fire ants in the past. In fact, I've been stung close to 300 times as I plunged my hands down into one of their mounds. Truth be told, it's one of the worst sting scenarios of my entire life. But realistically, you're not likely to be stung on your hands. You're much more likely to be stung on your feet. So today, I'm going to sacrifice mine in the name of science to show you what to do if you ever find yourself in this worst-case scenario. So if you're ready to party, let's dance with the fire ants. I'm Coyote Peterson, and I'm about to be scorched by fire ants. Here we go. 1, 2, oh boy, 3.
Now, before we enter the volcano and provoke an eruption of swarming ants, I want you to understand what makes these little invaders so impactful. Size doesn't always matter, and what these ants lack in scale, they make up for with sheer volume. Even the slightest disruption will provoke fire ants to attack a perceived intruder with a full barrage of soldiers. And if the mound is big enough, we are literally talking about thousands of ants. With their mandibles, they bite and lock on. From there, the sting party begins as they twist their abdomen into striking position and inflict sting after sting after sting. Fire ants inject a neurotoxic venom that immediately makes their victim feel as if they have stepped into a pool of boiling lava. Sounds like fun. Now let's see what that looks like in real life. The mental preparation that it takes to induce a sting, let alone an onslaught of stings, is not an easy thing to describe. This isn't like taking a single bullet ant sting or an execution wasp, which are both incredibly painful. This is getting stung over and over again by fire ants, one of the most formidable little biological landmines that exists, in my opinion, on the entire planet. So if you guys are ready, it's time to step into a mound of fire ants. Here we go. I'm Coyote Peterson, and I'm about to be scorched by fire ants. Here they come. Here they come. Here they come. Oh boy. I'm just gonna let myself get covered. The volcano is erupting. Oh man, they are really swarming at this point. Look at that, they're completely covering my ankles. I do not miss the feeling of fire ants. Okay, I gotta step out. I gotta step out of the mound, man, they got that one foot a lot worse than this foot. Oh my gosh, that's so intense. They might be small, but fire ants are incredibly mighty and they attack in mass. So right now what they're doing is biting out with the mandibles and inflicting that sting, and that neurotoxic venom is just destroying my feet and my ankles right now. Oh, this is the absolute worst case scenario you would not want to find yourself in. Imagine being in flip-flops, you brush through an entire mound of ants and your feet are completely covered. I can already see the stings beginning to welt up. All right, guys, I gotta dust them off. I gotta dust off. We good? We good? Okay, I'm gonna use this feather duster to gently get the ants off of me. Yes, I don't wanna try to crush any ants in this process, so I'm just gonna lightly dust them off. Come on, guys, get off of me. Off, 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 off. Off we go. Oh my goodness. Sweet feather duster relief. Oh my gosh. Oh, and there's a bunch of them in between my toes. You wanna talk about sensitive skin areas? In between the toes has gotta be the worst. Okay, ants are off. I'm out of the scene. Now, I know you're probably all wondering to yourselves, Coyote, just how bad are you feeling at this moment? Both of my feet are in absolute agony. And the burning at this point has started to wear off and the itching is beginning to set in. I would guess that I took somewhere around 450 to 500 stings. That is more than I took last time when I plunged my hands into the mound of fire ants. My toes seem to have even changed slight color given the onslaught of stings that I took in between my toes, which is an incredibly sensitive area. The top of your feet are soft and those ants just went to town. Now, the first thing you want to do if you find yourself in a mound is obviously to get out of it. Get the ants off of you and move yourself into a controlled situation. If you can, get yourself some water and wash off the sting zone. So what I'm going to do is just take my Brave Wilderness water bottle and get all of the dirt and dust and any other debris on my feet off, and this is just going to be so incredibly soothing. Oh yeah, ice cold water. That feels wonderful. Wow. I never thought I would be so happy to have cold water on my feet. Getting the sting zone washed off is definitely important. Just kind of
bat it down if you can with a little paper towel there and get it dry before you go on to apply the rest of your first aid. Now, you're very unlikely to have an allergic reaction to fire ants. However, they have been reported to have caused anaphylactic shock in the past. So stay in tune with how your body is reacting to the venom. If you feel your throat tightening up or you're just really losing control of the situation, seek medical help. But for the most part, fire ant stings are nothing more than just simply an uncomfortable scenario. Now, our friends at Sting Kill have a new product, and I always have Sting Kill in my first aid kits. But today, we are going to look at Fire Out. And what's really cool about this is, I'm just gonna get it opened up here. It's a very simple to use product. Comes in a little bottle, just like this. All you need to do is screw off the top, and right underneath, almost like a deodorant rolling ball, you've got this up here. You just wanna break the seal, and it's gonna get the actual serum itself working. So here we go. I'm gonna start getting Fire Out onto my foot, and let's see if the relief is instantaneous. Oh, that is wonderful. Oh my gosh, that is wonderful. The cooling sensation that is bringing to the top of my foot right now is the relief that I have been waiting for. I'm just gonna get that work down into my toes there. Now keep in mind, I took an onslaught of stings. It's not likely you're going to receive as many as I did in this scenario, but no matter how many stings you take, Fire Out, at this point, has definitely extinguished those flames. Now when it comes to fire ant stings, there are 3 stages. The stings themselves, the immediate aftermath, and then the 24-hour effect. Just wait until you guys see what my feet look like in the morning.
Of all the insect stings I have taken, people always want to know which hurt the worst, and my answer is always the same. The most painful was definitely the executioner wasp, followed by the giant hornet, and coming in 3rd place is everyone's favorite, the bullet ant. But no one ever asks which sting just kept on giving. If they did, the answer would definitely be fire ants.
Well, it's been 14 hours since my dance with the fire ants. And as you can see, the pustules have come out in full force. Now, it was inevitable that my feet were gonna end up looking like this. It's just my body's natural reaction to the fire ant venom. But I have to note, I only applied Fire Out a single time, and thus far, I've experienced no more stinging or burning since the onslaught of stings. Now, that is impressive. I'm Coyote Peterson. Be brave. Stay wild. We'll see you on the next adventure.
In the days that followed filming my entry into the volcano of fire ants, I continued to apply Fire Out every time the heat and itching began to flare up. And much to my delight, it eliminated the discomfort immediately. However, nothing can stop your body's natural reaction to fight the venom, 95% of which is composed of insoluble alkaloids that your body forces to the skin's surface in the form of unsightly pustules. This series of pictures shows you just how horrific the aftermath was in a 36, 48, and 72-hour window. So I think you get the idea. Dancing with fire ants is not on the list of fun things to do this summer. But fear not, if you find yourself balancing on the rim of an ant volcano, Sting Kill has got you covered. And the first aid is quick, simple, and now proven to bring immediate relief.
Real medicine, real relief, real fast. When it comes to killing the sting, nothing beats Sting Kill.
For more information on Sting Kill's products, or where to get them, make sure to visit their website by clicking on the link in the video description below.
Sitting here before me are 2 capsules. Each holds a spider. Now, one of them is completely harmless, and the other hails as one of the most venomous spider species in the United States. What if I were to tell you that one of these is Recluse? Yes, a recluse. And I will be free handling this dangerous spider very soon. But first, you need to properly identify which is which. This one has long spindly legs, it's brown in coloration, and has a small abdomen. This one is slightly more robust, has a bulbous abdomen and stockier legs. Both spiders are creepy, both spiders are brown, and both of them suffer from a syndrome that I like to call BBS, basic brown spider. Now, the recluse is one of the most misidentified spider species in all of the United States, and that's based on their range, their size, and their similar body structure to other basic brown spiders. Can you tell which is which? Now, if you picked this spider as the recluse, you are absolutely correct. Now, there are several recluse species that exist throughout the United States, the most famous being the brown recluse. This is its close southwestern cousin, the desert recluse. And for simplicity's sake, from here on forward, I'm just going to refer to this arachnid as the recluse. And yes, like I said, I am going to freehandle it to see if it lives up to its villainous reputation. When it comes to properly identifying a recluse species, there are 4 helpful aspects to consider. And the first is location. The brown recluse is the most famous of these spiders and is only found in the south central and midwestern United States. Second is size. Recluse spiders are small. If your suspect is larger than a quarter, it's not a recluse. Bigger doesn't always mean more dangerous. Third is web structure. If your brown spider is dangling from a web, it's not a recluse. These spiders hide in cool, dark crevices. Fourth and finally are the field marks. This can be tricky because you would have to be very close to the spider. But if you can spot a violin-shaped design on the cephalothorax, there's a good chance you were looking at a recluse. Hopefully that helps, but when in doubt, never interact with a spider and simply admire them from a safe distance. Okay, now that you guys have gotten a healthy dose of education, I think that you have earned your entertainment. So I'm going to place this little basic brown spider off to the side, and I think it's time. I'm Coyote Peterson, and I'm about to freehandle a recluse. Here we go. Now, it is fair to note that this spider has one of the most potent arachnid venoms in the United States. It has some necrotic components to it, and you've likely seen some pictures on the internet that are quite horrific looking. It's also fair to note that not all spider bites from recluse are equal. It all depends how your body reacts to the venom. Regardless, I do not want to receive a bite in this instance. So I'm going to try to be as absolutely calm as possible and just gently coax this spider out and onto my hand. Even though I am pretty sure that I am not going to be bitten by this spider, it is still nerve-wracking to have it walking across my hands. Now, when you look at the size of the spider, it's very small. And a small spider means small fangs. And in many instances, taking a bite from a spider like this is actually quite difficult. And this spider is not likely to inflict a bite unless, whoa, that was incredibly fast. Unless it feels pressure on top of its body and it feels the need to defend itself. In almost all instances, spider bites happen as a defense bite. Obviously, spiders are not feasting upon humans, so the spider has no reason to bite me for any reason other than if it feels threatened. We've got it in a perfect position there, right on the edge of my thumb. They're incredibly fast, so it's better for me if the spider stays in one spot and stays completely still. I'm gonna just rest my hand down there like that. Now, the skin on the top of my thumb is rather soft. I would be more comfortable if the spider was on the underside of my fingers where they're a little bit more calloused, a little bit more worn in. And the softer parts to your skin are where you're more likely susceptible to be able to take a bite. Remember, the fangs of this spider are incredibly small, smaller in size than even something like a black widow. Now, when it comes to recluse bites in the United States, nearly 90% of the bites that happen heal on their own and do not result in large necrotic lesions. And it's all based on how your body reacts to the venom. If you get a spider bite and you're noticing that you're having some really negative effects, I strongly recommend that you seek medical attention. It's important to keep an eye on the bite site and determine what's happening. Is it becoming red? Is it becoming swollen? Is it starting to look pussy? One of the big fears with brown recluse bite specifically is that the necrotic components to the venom begin to break down red blood cells. If that does end up happening in the case of a bite, you definitely want to receive medical attention. However, there's no anti-venom for brown recluse or any recluse species venom. So while you can go through a potentially painful situation, it's very unlikely that you're ever going to be bitten by the species. Here's something else to consider. The name recluse basically means that these spiders are doing their best to stay out of the sight of humans. If you see one of these spiders, it's most likely going to be outdoors, usually in a dark, cool place. The desert recluse, which this species is specifically, almost is never found indoors. Brown recluse can be found indoors, but there's even been stories about people who have had brown recluse infestations in their houses and did not receive a single bite over the course of several months. Kind of goes to show you that they aren't necessarily aggressive toward humans. People across the United States have stories of seeing brown recluse. And it's not to say that you haven't seen a brown recluse, but this is one of the most commonly misidentified spider species in the United States. And so many brown spiders look similar. Now, the way that most spider bites end up happening, just like with the black widow, is that the spider is accidentally pressed down upon and it feels as if it's going to be squished. If a spider is in a shoe or in a piece of clothing, you put it on, you feel something moving around, and then you swat at it, that's where the bite ends up happening. So if you see one of these spiders just crawling around and you ignore it or moving the other direction, your chances of having an interaction being bitten are slim to zero. So at this point, I have to wonder, is the brown recluse really living up to its venomous and aggressive reputation? At this point, I would say not really. The spider's just freely crawling along on my hand and arm, and at this point has not shown any form of aggression whatsoever. So what I want you guys to ultimately walk away from this episode with is the knowledge of how to properly identify one of these spiders if you come across it, but also to realize that spiders are not out to get you. It's also safe to say that you should never try to interact with a recluse or any spider species for that matter. Remember, I've got a lot of experience interacting with these arachnids. If you see a spider in the wild, simply admire it from a safe distance, and both you and the arachnid will go on to have a safe and happy encounter. I'm Coyote Peterson. Be brave. Stay wild. We'll see you on the next adventure. All right, let's get this little recluse back up into its container. What you see here on the table are a pair of Hex Armor bite-proof gloves. Supposedly, these can withstand the bite of a venomous snake. What I'm gonna do is slowly move my hand in towards the snake's nose. Let's just see what the aggression level is as I move my hand in toward its face. Okay, it's a beautiful night in Costa Rica, and I'm sitting next to one of the most iconic snake species in this country. That is an eyelash viper. Now, we've worked with this species in the past. In fact, I found the yellow phase of this snake out in the wild several years ago. But this one here is actually an ambassador for its species that was born and raised in captivity. This snake specifically is used to help educate people about the snakes that live here in Central America and why you want to safely avoid them at all cost. Now, this snake is not necessarily as toxic as something like a fer-de-lance, which makes it the perfect subject matter for tonight. What you see here on the table are a pair of Hex Armor bite-proof gloves. Supposedly, these can withstand the bite of a venomous snake. Now, obviously, I wouldn't try this with something as large as like a Western Diamondback, an Eastern Diamondback, or a fer-de-lance, but the eyelash viper has smaller fangs, and I feel a little bit safer free-handling that snake with these gloves. We'll get to that risky entertainment in just a few moments, but first what I want to do is take an educational look at this incredible reptile. Now, the eyelash viper is an arboreal species, which means they're primarily found up in trees. And as you see the snake right here, gently clutched on this branch, it almost looks as if it's a gargoyle, staying completely still. And this is usually exactly how you will see these snakes out in the wild, waiting in ambush. They are ambush predators, and all they need to do is hang from a tree branch and wait for something to come close. They primarily feast upon animals that are going to be up in the treetops. Lizards, frogs, bats, even birds fall victim to snakes like this. And you see that position the snake's in right now? That S-curled shape? head pointing down, something gets close, it strikes out, and with those hinged fangs, injects a hemotoxic venom. Now what's unique about the eyelash vipers as compared to many other pit viper species is that when they bite, they actually lock on. When you think of something like a fertile ant, it's gonna strike out, inflict a bite, let go, and then track its prey once it has succumbed to the venom. But with a snake like this that lives up in the trees, it needs to bite and hold on. If this guy bites a bat and that bat falls out of the tree, the snake's gotta go all the way down to the ground to get it. So this snake wants to bite, hold on, and then it's got its chance for a meal. The name eyelash viper, where does that name come from? If you take a real close look at the face of this snake, you'll see two little modified scales growing just above the eyes. Sort of makes it look like horns, or in this case, a pair of eyelashes. Now scientists believe that these modified scales perhaps help them navigate through the arboreal environment, maybe pushing away plant matter or possibly to help keep them camouflaged. These snakes are incredibly good at keeping themselves hidden within the environment. Now, if you're to go out into the Costa Rican rainforest at night, the thing that's actually dangerous is that if somebody grabs onto a branch, let's say you're moving through the environment and you grip onto something, helping yourself navigate, if one of these snakes is in the tree, that's how you're accidentally bitten. These snakes are not necessarily going to ever be aggressive towards humans unless threatened. However, if you were to unfortunately be bitten, it is a hemotoxic venom, and that means medical emergency. Now, you guys clicked on this video because the thumbnail likely has this snake close to my hand. It's like, oh my gosh, is Coyote going to get bitten by a venomous snake tonight? I'm not attempting to provoke a bite from this snake. The reason that I'm going to try to handle this snake with bite-proof gloves is because it's a fragile species, right? A snake of this size is rather delicate. It's not something that you want to squeeze and hold on to. You don't want to pin its head. You don't want to have complete control of the snake. The idea is that if I can hold it gently with these gloves, it may be a tactic that we use in the future to handle small venomous snakes. Coral snakes, sidewinders, eyelash vipers, these are perfect subject matters for using these bite-proof gloves. I also have to be aware of how close this snake gets to my face. So keeping it out in front of me like this is extremely important. Remember, they've got a rather far reach, and a snake like this can lunge forward nearly 2/3 the length of its body. If I'm bitten in the face by a snake like this, it's going to be a very bad end to my day. It takes a little bit of nerves when you start thinking about handling a venomous snake. And while in the past I've interacted with many different venomous species, to actually be hands-on with one without controlling its head is something that I have not attempted before. So if you're ready, it's time to free handle the eyelash viper. What I'm hoping is that I will be able to get it to just kind of come right out onto my hand. So you see that? The snake is backing its head up ever so slightly. Now that position right there definitely could warrant a bite. But you'll notice this snake is not aggressive in any way whatsoever. It's sensing my hand. Now you see the tongue flicking out. It's investigating me, saying, okay, this is something new in my environment, but it doesn't look like something that I would necessarily want to eat. So I'm going to gently see if I can bring it up. Oh, there we go. Let's see if I can get you to come out here onto my hand. There we go. There we go. Okay, this is going really well so far. Really, really well. There we go. And I just want to make sure that I'm not constraining the snake too much. There we go. Oh, I'm going to keep you right there. That's perfect. I'm very happy about that position. Now, if I just keep my hand like this, you see how it's causing the snake to balance itself into a curled position. That is absolutely perfect. Now on camera, it's tough to tell exactly how close that snake is to my face. It probably looks closer than it really is, so I don't want any of you to think, Coyote, you've got that pit viper way too close to you. Trust me guys, it would take a huge jump for it to be able to leap out and get me in the face at this point. It's also why I'm keeping my hand slightly here blocked just in case something crazy happens. But if I turn it like this, you can really get a great look at that snake's profile. They are just so incredibly beautiful. And like all pit vipers, they have a heat-seeking pit, and this snake is capable of sensing all sorts of different heat registers. So if this snake spots something like a lizard, this snake is using its incredible eyesight to be able to identify animals that do not have warm blood. Notice the vertical pupil. That expands and contracts based on the amount of light in the environment, which helps them to see incredibly well at night. And for anybody that's afraid of snakes, the fear, which is called ophidiophobia, you can see that this is not something that is aggressive toward humans. You may be saying to yourselves, well, Coyote, you said that this snake was born and raised in captivity. Doesn't make a difference, guys. It's behaving the exact same way that one of these snakes would in the wild. If you're not swinging your hand in front of it, if you're not poking at it with a stick, if you're simply admiring it from a safe distance, it will be a great experience. That's probably also a great spot for me to give you guys that stereotypical warning where I say never go out into the environment and try to handle a snake. Now, the people that use these Hex Armor gloves are typically professionals. Anything could happen here. I could be bitten. While I do trust the gloves, I would never want you guys to be in a position where you could accidentally receive a bite from a snake like this. Like I said earlier, the reason that I'm using these bite-proof gloves tonight is to test out whether or not free-handling smaller venomous snakes like this is a good tactic for us moving forward. So if I were to physically grab onto the snake or pin its head down with a snake hook or hold it with snake tongs, puts a lot of stress on the animal. You can see how calm it's being right now. And this is an awesome way for us to be able to get these animals up close for the cameras without putting a lot of stress on them. I'm gonna try a little experiment here. What I'm gonna do is slowly move my hand in towards the snake's nose. Not to necessarily provoke a strike, but let's just see what the aggression level is as I move my hand in toward its face. Very slowly. Look at that. Snake just basically stays in gargoyle mode. Yep, I bopped you on the nose just a tiny bit there. You can see it's kind of curled its head back in a little bit of a strike pose, saying, okay, you got close. Let's not push it too much further than that. And I won't, but that's exactly what I wanted to try to determine. Is this snake feeling completely calm because it's not restrained? It has no reason to strike out and try to bite me. Wow, what a cool experiment this was tonight. Determining that using bite-proof gloves is a great way to interact with smaller venomous snakes. It's allowed me to stay calm, the snake has stayed calm, and we've gotten a really cool Central American species up close for the cameras. The one and only eyelash viper. I'm Coyote Peterson. Be brave, stay wild. We'll see you on the next adventure. All right, I'm gonna place you back up on your tree branch. Sound good?
If you love animals, make sure to search for the Brave Wilderness channel on YouTube so you can join me and the crew on our next wild adventure.